thank you so much for joining my YouTube channel. Of course, I want you to subscribe. In May, is Mental Health Awareness Month, so we need to think about that. And also, this would be a great thing. This series would be great to share with lots of your friends. We're starting a new series this month, and it is called, What Are You Looking For? And that's a good question, because I think we are all looking for different things. We're looking for something, many things. And if you've ever lost something, then you're looking for what you lost. And I'm wearing this ring today because I lost this ring several years ago when my kids were little, and I hadn't found it. It is a really fantastic ring and I like it a lot, but I had a hard time. For months I lost this ring, and it was very, very disturbing to me because I thought, I got to find this. And I'm looking everywhere, can't find it. I think one of my kids threw it in like the little heat vent, and I'm like, ugh. And I'm frustrated because I can't find it. And sure enough, one of my kids, we were kind of cleaning out our pantry, and there was a box in there, like a clutter box, that we'd, shuffled off everything from the counter, because we had company come over for dinner and trying to clean up the counter. So we did that clutter box, threw it in the pantry, and sure enough, as we were going through that, there's a little tiny offering box for my kids' Sunday school, and this was in that offering box. And it's interesting because I prayed, God, please help me to find this ring. And so I was searching for a long time and asking my kids, everybody, help me find this ring. And I think sometimes we are looking for things. We're looking not only for objects like a ring, but I think sometimes we look for stuff. There's that classic song, Looking for Love in All the Wrong Places. That's like an old school song. But I think we all are looking for things, looking for stuff like significance. We want to be important. We want to be valuable. We want to be treasured. We want to be important. We are looking for validation. We are looking for affirmation. We are looking for fulfillment. I think these are all things that maybe I'm kind of tweaking you a little bit. Maybe some of you are looking for a job, you're looking for the school, you're looking for the right mate. I think we're all looking for things. And I think it's important to consider, what are you looking for? Because I think a lot of times we go after something thinking that's what we want. But when we get it, we realize that's not as fulfilling as what I wanted. So you might think, well, I want more money. I'll feel important if I have more money. And if we chase that rabbit, then it's endless, right? I never have enough money. And what I really want is to feel important. And we think that the money is the answer to that internal need or desire. And I just encourage you today, Jesus really speaks to this idea of what are you looking for? And it's interesting because I find in Luke chapter, I'm going to make sure I get this, 24 verse 5, it's interesting because Jesus had just risen from the dead. And some of the female followers for Jesus came to the tomb, and they were looking for Jesus. And as they were there, an angel appeared to them and said, "Why are you looking for the living among the dead?" And I think that's a really interesting question to think about, because I have this in my mind that sometimes what I really want, I'm looking for whatever that is, importance, value, fulfillment, love. I try to think, well, maybe this method will help resolve that desire, what I'm looking for. And those women were looking for Jesus. They thought he was dead. But the angel said, "Why are you looking for the living among the dead?" And I think sometimes what we really want is we want Jesus, right, ultimately. And ultimately, I would say that what we're looking for is Jesus. I believe that in all of our hearts there is something, a God-sized hole in our hearts. And I think we try to fill that hole and find, we're seeking and looking for a resolution, how to resolve, how to fix, how to fulfill that internal thing. So we look for things outside. And what happens is the stuff outside becomes more like a dead end, right? A dead end as opposed to a living relationship. And I want to just encourage you today that sometimes we get distracted by these external pursuits. We try to resolve an internal desire, an internal need with an external pursuit. And what it is, it winds up being disappointing, winds up being disillusioning, it winds up being a distraction, but it doesn't really resolve what we really want inside. What are you looking for? And let's be aware and let's be conscientious that we're not looking for the living Jesus in dead-end pursuits. Let's make sure that we keep Jesus as our fundamental pursuit, the crosshairs, and that relationship with Jesus. And saying, okay, Jesus, I know I want fulfillment, I want the maid, I need a job, all those things. But ultimately, I want to look to you to resolve, to meet, to solve, to direct, to guide, to help, to empower. That Jesus, you're my ultimate solution. You're my ultimate reward. So I think as we think about mental health, I think it's really important to consider that Jesus is an important ingredient for mental health, for our mental health, because the Bible tells us that Jesus is our Prince of Peace. And as we think about this, I just kind of would encourage you to consider, and I was asking God to help me this morning in talking with you and sharing something with you, and there's a verse that God dropped in my heart, and I think it's super, super powerful. In fact, I just shared it with my friend Jack. Hello, Jack, just before we started here with you. But this is Job 20, verse 20, and it says, because he didn't know any quiet in him, he didn't retain anything he desires. And I think sometimes if we don't settle into Jesus as our Prince of Peace, then we live in this breathless pursuit of endless desires. And I just encourage you today, this series is going to talk about what are you looking for? And it will speak to and help you, I believe, walk through and identify, no, what do I really want? And what maybe have I lost? And what do I really desire? Because ultimately, I believe that when we go after Jesus as our ultimate desire, then we retain and we have fulfillment and stability and absolute settled peace in our hearts, because Jesus is pervasive and our Prince of Peace. So thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Make sure you hit the notification bell right there. That'd be really great, because that'll give you updates for new content. And here's something for you to think about as a question. What is something, and you could answer it in the comments here. I really appreciate your feedback on those comments, because that's fun, and I like to read through what you're saying and different answers, and it makes me think of things, which I really appreciate. So shout out to all of y'all for answering these questions. So here's the question I want you to think about. What is something that you've lost? No bad answers. I gave you an example when I started. I lost my ring, found it. But what is something that you've lost? You don't have to have found it yet, whatever, but just write in there, what have you lost? And then finally, here's your joke, right? Because these are fantastic. We all wait with eager anticipation for these jokes. So what do you call it when two skeletons have a fight? When they fight together, they have a bone to pick. I know, right? It's really, really good. So next week will be so much better. Thanks again.